All right, let's get started. Good afternoon. My name is Dale Darrow. I am the director of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's office here in Wisconsin. And we are here today with our Principal Deputy Secretary for Public and Indian Housing, Richard Monacchio, who has come from Washington to make a number of grant announcements around the state. And turn it over to Rich now for this area.
Thank you very much, Dale, for that introduction. And I want to thank our host here in Madison. Christy, thank you for hosting us. I'm Richard Monacchio. I'm the Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary for Public and Indian Housing. It's a long title, but we provide rental assistance to over 3.5 million Americans. And, we're a lifeline. The work that we do is critical, and what we're here to talk about today is amongst the most important work that we do. Providing housing, services, and stability for our nation's veterans. We have a great lineup here. Everybody's going to introduce themselves, but Elmer Moore with WIDA is with us. Matt Wachter with the Madison Community Development Authority. Our friends from the VA, who we couldn't do this without, Danielle and Heather. But the guy that's going to steal the show here is Staff Sergeant Ramirez. His story is why we do what we do. And I'm not gonna give it away because he told me his story, and it's incredible. The program that I'm here to talk about today, and we're here to talk about, is the Veteran Supportive Housing Program. It's in many ways a unique federal program because it requires two federal agencies to work very closely together. And it doesn't work unless we work together. And I'm happy to say that it's one of the better federal programs I've seen in my time in government, and I've been in government for a while. 200,000 veterans in this country have been housed with vouchers through the VASH program, Veterans Affairs Supportive Housing. Right now, 112,000 veterans, American veterans, are housed through VASH, receiving supportive services through the VA. 1,300 right here in Wisconsin. We've got a few announcements here to make today that to improve the program. It's been around now for about 15 years. It's been hugely successful, but whenever you're running a program, any government program, any program, there's things that you learn, there's things that you can do better. So one of the things we sought out to do this year was to elicit more feedback from our partners, meaning the public housing authorities, the VA medical centers, and the folks at VA and HUD. We had a series of 10 boot camps all over the country to learn what we're doing right, what we can do better, and to share success stories. So one of the things that we have heard over the years, and one of the announcements that I'm here to make today, is that veterans who have service-related disability income were being hurt by HUD's income limits. So today we're announcing that for the purpose of eligibility in the VASH program, service-connected disability payments will no longer be considered. I mean, it's long overdue, but I have to say, if you think about it, what better change in a program, right, than saying to a veteran who has served their country and actually been wounded, that the fact that you're getting some compensation for this, as little as it may be, but it keeps a lot of people going, it's not going to impact your ability to be in HUD housing. So very proud of that. Secondly, we are making it so that more veterans can live in assisted housing through VASH. Normally, the program limits people's income at 50% of median. In Wisconsin, the median income for a family is $72,000. But today we're announcing that any veteran who goes up to 80% of median income will be housed. And I heard these stories across the country in some of my visits, including to the VA medical campus in LA, where there's a lot of new housing getting built, and heard that veterans at that income level, which is not a lot of money, as we know, but it's higher than what HUD usually subsidizes, were being left out, and that's going to change. Another very important change. We don't want the fact that rents are rising, and we know they are, the fact that rents are rising to preclude a veteran from using the voucher. So we're also raising the fair market rent to 140%. So that, again, because sometimes you do special things for special people. And we don't want the fact that the rent increases in this country, although we have also increased our own fair market rents to keep up, but it's hard to keep up. So we're making this exception payment standard available to all veterans. I come from before I got to HUD, I ran a housing authority, and I ran a VASH program and built housing. And I'm really happy to say that the first new development that's in the ground is going to be a grand opening next month for 84 veterans, and I'm going to go back for that, and I can't wait for it. This is something that's near and dear to me, and it's near and dear to the Biden administration. Housing homeless people overall is a huge priority of ours. This week we put out record levels of funding for homeless assistance, $3.5 billion to communities all over the country. On top of that, we have a new program to build permanent supportive housing for veterans and other homeless people, families that need it. So this is really a concerted effort on the part of this administration to deal with a problem that's vexed us for too long. But we know we can do it because we've cut veterans' homelessness by 52% since 2010. Okay, 52%. Now, one homeless veteran is too many, but that's going to change. These program modifications that we're making here are going to help. We're also we're making available more VASH vouchers to communities and agencies like Madison and like WIDA, who do a very good job of administering their program. The final announcement, and this is why we have the checks behind us, very important part of the voucher program, VASH specifically, but it really cuts across. We're providing an extra $20 million to agencies that administer the VASH program. And what they're going to use that for is to recruit landlords, to help veterans and their families with housing navigation. With a tight rental market, it isn't enough anymore to say, here's your voucher, you've got 120 days, go find an apartment. It isn't that easy. And especially with, some of our veterans have service-connected issues or other issues that they might need a little extra help to get on their feet. So that's what this does. In addition to the services the VA provides, the administrative fees that HUD is raising today are going to go a long way. Security deposits, very important. We don't want a veteran to lose out on an apartment because of a security deposit. So we can actually provide up to 2 months in security deposits for our veterans, and it's going to be PHAs and tribal entities are going to have more dollars to do just that. So very, very pleased to be here today to make these great announcements in Madison, Wisconsin. Was up in Eau Claire yesterday, and we were at the Ho-Chunk Nation this morning, and Green Bay and the Oneida tribe tomorrow. So we're getting a great a great view of this great state. And now I want to turn it over to our host, Christy Baumel, from the Madison Deputy Mayor for Housing and Sustainability. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being here. And thank you, Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary Manacchio, for this great news. Very happy to hear it, very happy and excited to see how it helps our veterans here in Madison and beyond. Housing is a major priority for us here in Madison. It's a major priority for our mayor, Mayor Rhodes Conway. And housing for our veterans is an incredibly important part of that. We have around 8,000 veterans living here in Madison. These are people who have served our country, who have sacrificed for our country, and we know in many cases that leaves some sort of a scar, whether that's physical, whether it's an emotional trauma, and that can have an impact on the housing needs and the housing choices for our veterans. So we have programs to support housing in a number of ways in Madison, including programs for veterans. We're, one, trying hard to build enough housing to house everybody and build enough housing choice for everybody. Two, we're incentivizing the private market to build affordable housing too, and that includes just affordable by income, and also has dedicated set-asides for veterans in many cases, and we try to help make those connections and bring that housing to fruition. And then we also offer support through housing vouchers for our veterans to access the type of housing that they need in the community, and this announcement that we're making here today just makes that easier and helps us reach more people. So we know we have a lot more work to do to reach our housing goals, and we also know that reaching our housing goals requires action on all fronts. But among those fronts are more people having access to the programs we need, and you just heard an announcement that helps bring that to fruition, and having enough funding to administer the programs so that we can get that help into the hands of veterans who need them faster, and so the funding support will help with that as well. So we're really helping achieve two of the activities and actions we need to really realize our goals for housing and housing veterans. So I want to thank, you'll hear from the VA in a little while. I want to thank them for their partnership and longtime wonderful partners. WIDA is a longtime wonderful partner. You'll hear them as well. And I want to thank you, HUD as well, and the Biden administration for all of your support and for the support here today that's going to help our veterans here in Madison and throughout the nation. So thank you very much.
So, Matt Wachter, Director of the Madison Community Development Authority. I just want to start by saying thank you to HUD for really this opportunity to strengthen and grow our VASH program here in Madison. I also want to echo Christy's remarks in thanking the VA, who's been really our partner in this since it launched in 2009. Over those 15 years, we've been able to grow the program by about 250%. And over those 15 years, we've been able to provide roughly $11 million of rental assistance to veterans participating in our VASH program here in Madison. And we've consistently been able to exceed the goals that HUD has set out for us because of that strong relationship with the VA here in Madison. So now in 2024, we are at a point where we are serving almost 200 veterans through the program here in Madison. And I'm very excited to announce that with this additional funds, this additional flexibility, we'll be able to continue to grow that program and get veterans into housing faster with less money out of pocket. So again, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Good afternoon. My name is Elmer Moore Jr. I am the Executive Director and CEO for the Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority, where we believe that we are every day advancing a vision for a future where everyone in this state has a safe, affordable place to call home. And who deserves that more than our veterans? The folks that often sacrifice life and limb, safety and security to protect all of us. We are so excited to be here today. There's not a lot that has been left unsaid, but I want to echo the sentiments of enormous appreciation to our partners in Madison, the city of Madison, to our appreciation for the VA, our appreciation for HUD, and all of the other important stakeholders who made the protection of safety, security, and housing available to our veterans. I want to make sure I use this opportunity to thank the staff at WIDA and those responsible for administrating these programs. These are complex, often difficult programs to work, but their excellent work has made growth even possible. So with that, I want to advance the idea that we should all be looking for opportunities to make housing a priority, as does the Biden-Harris administration, as does Governor Evers, and we look forward to celebrating growth in our future. Thank you.
So I just want to let you know that I'm a Vietnam vet, and that I've gotten service from the VA as well. And coming back from a war, some people are able to adjust rather quickly, and some people come back with some injuries that make life much more difficult. The VASH program is about getting people into housing, but it is getting people back into stable life and good life. So I want to invite up now all three of the two folks that are leading the effort at the VA Middleton Center here for the HUD VASH program. Danielle Kuhn, who is a program manager for all of veterans homelessness at the VA facility, and Heather Campbell, who is working with all the folks that are getting VASH vouchers to help them find locations, and in particular Juan Ramirez to come and tell about his story. So thank you. Come on up, all three.
Thank you very much for that introduction. The Madison VA has a pretty big umbrella of services for folks experiencing homelessness, and I wanted to highlight a bit of how a veteran gets to HUD VASH. So we have a Healthcare for Homeless Veterans outreach team that is doing outreach to our shelters in our community. They're part of the COC. They're responding to call center referrals, and any kind of consult from a provider in the hospital, and they're really our front line of identifying veterans who are experiencing homelessness, getting them assessed, and connecting them to our other programs. We also have a Veterans Justice Program that's doing jail and prison outreach to identify incarcerated veterans who maybe need to get connected to health care and are at risk of homelessness. We also work with some great community agencies who are providing transitional housing through our grant and per diem program, and we provide direct oversight and liaison with those services. And then ultimately, of course, we have HUD VASH, which is our largest program and our permanent supportive program. You've heard others mention our great partnership with the Community Development Authority. We've had fantastic growth with this program. We have 200 veterans under lease right now, and still some more vouchers to get out. And our partnership with CDA has just been so fantastic that we're even able to issue a voucher same day as we refer to the Housing Authority, and that's fantastic. And so I'd like to pass the mic to Mr. Juan Ramirez, who's one of our HUD VASH veteran participants, to share a bit about his story.
Thank you. My name's Staff Sergeant Juan Ramirez. I'm a veteran. I did my 16 years in the Army, the United States Army, as an infantryman. My last iteration was I was instructor at the Bradley School in Fort Benning, Georgia. So after I finished my time in the service, I drove a truck for 22 years, all over creation, Mexico, the 48 states, and Canada. And then COVID happened, and it shut down everything. Shut down my entire home state of Texas. So I became homeless right there. Nobody wanted COVID to get spread. And I ended up over here after several years in Wisconsin, Platteville, Wisconsin, as a homeless man. And I was living under a tree line right next to Walmart. If you've ever been to Platteville, there's only one Walmart. There's a big tree line right there, and I was living there. And I started calling up, and all the veteran entities started calling me up. And one of the ones is the Veterans Hotline, because I was suicidal. So the lady said, hey, it's 9 o'clock at night. I can't do nothing for you right now, but hold off. I'll get you help in the morning. And she did. Everybody started calling. And I went on board to the veterans program, ended up here in Madison at the VA at the mental ward for 2 weeks. Graduated from that, ended up in Porchlight Veterans Transitional Housing Program for 9 months. And they acquired me an apartment at the north side of Madison at the Madison Senior Apartments. But living there like a king for 2 years. While I was there looking at the propeller, I was like, I gotta do something better than this. So I became a student at the MATC, Madison Area Technical College, and UW. I am an alumni in UW, the Odyssey program. And I'm working on my Human Services Associate degree through MATC. Thank you. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have made it. I'd still be at the Woodline in Platteville. So because it was a team effort, I made it all the way here. I'm proud of myself. My family's proud of me, and I consider myself a role model for other young ones that kind of know my story. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Juan, for sharing your story. I'm Heather Campbell. I'm a HUD Bash Housing Coordinator at the Madison VA. So currently in Dane County, we have 43 homeless veterans experiencing homelessness, but not all of them are eligible for HUD Bash at this time. So we have a great collaboration with all the veteran support services here in Dane County to help these veterans get on the path to housing and help them get connected to the right program for them to obtain that permanent housing. So I work primarily in the HUD VASH program, and we provide wraparound services in the community and in our veterans' home. We offer targeted housing search with our housing specialists. We offer move-in assistance and linkage to resources such as those new security deposit funding that we're going to be getting with CDA. We provide advocacy to our veterans with landlords if they have barriers. We help them apply for benefits, such as the service-connected benefits that were mentioned earlier. And we also work with them to increase their community inclusion. We want our veterans to have a successful life in the community the way they want it to be. All of our veterans have recovery goals that our team helps them work on, and working on just feeling at home and feeling safe in their housing. So most of you are aware that we have a significant housing shortage here in Dane County. And with that tight housing market and low vacancy rate, some of our veterans that have barriers to finding housing, that makes it even more difficult. We are super lucky here in Dane County to have all of our affordable housing partners working with us and setting aside units for our veterans. Since 2020, I've worked with 20 different programs that have set aside housing for our veterans, and it's such a joy to watch our veterans move into this brand new housing. Sometimes in the past we had some pretty not as great housing, so we are so appreciative of our support from our affordable landlords, from WIDA, to help with those affordable housing grants along with the city and county here in Madison. We couldn't do our job without everybody's ongoing support, and we welcome any veterans or any landlords to reach out to us if they're interested in partnering with us to help house veterans so we can succeed our goal of ending veteran homelessness. Thank you.
You know, veterans have the highest suicide rate in the country. And these people at the VA are addressing that well. So, we're done. We're now happy to take questions from the meeting.
And actually, before we do questions, we'll actually do pull-asides, but instead, let's do our big check presentation. That's the fun part. So, Rich, I'm going to bring you up here.
So, our first awardee is the Madison Community Development Authority. Matt, you want to come up? $68,320, Madison. spend it all in one place. And our second awardee is WIDA. Elmer?
So much.
WIDA, $60,978 to help house our homeless veterans. Thank you. Wisconsin does it right. Thank you very
so
much.
much.
And that concludes our event. Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. You ready for some pictures? If any press are interested in doing pull-aside interviews with PDAS Minacchio, we can do that either inside or out here, depending on the sound, so we'll allow for that. But first, I'd like to allow some time for pictures. So I'm going to move this podium, and we're going to bring the checks up.